To live the virtues calls that each and every individual began to make a conscious and clear choice to really feel. Not emotional reactivation, not the wounds of the past or the hurt feelings about what they have done to me, but the feeling of being in touch with yourself. That feeling that is so powerful, so deep, and yet it isn't so deep that you lose it. It is so deep that it sets a resonance within you of clarity. I am aligned within myself. I feel my faith. I feel my gratitude. I feel my synchronicities that are gifts from Spirit that comes not because God says, oh, you're a good child and I will bestow this upon you, but because in the very beginning, God said, this is a gift that allows each soul to recognize their mastery. Feel this gift. Grow with it. Allow it to expand and allow it to expand you. Feel it. And that gift is moving more and more to a place within each one where the feeling of being in touch with self. Feel the joy. Yes, I felt the joy briefly and then it was gone. But it is to be open to feel the joy. It isn't a shutter that opens and closes, a door that lets you in or puts you out. It is your own divine essence that exists within you. And it is to develop that connection with your own divine self takes infinite patience. Patience, the virtue that perhaps of all the virtues is the most ignored. And the ego mind will simply, in its need to get things done quickly, get them done quickly so that you can move on to the next thing. Do you have time to find out what you discovered, what you received, who you are, how this experience is helping you evolve, move forward, live the experience of your selfhood Oh, the ego knows that if you are with these energetic changes, to feel them, integrate them, accept them as a spiritual point of evolution, not something that comes and goes, because as I move forward, I move away from the experience, but something that deepens and expands. Because the more experiences that you have of being at one with yourself, the more you live in a clear, honest, steady way, the patience to allow the experience to be yours. Even though the ego mind is saying, we've got to get going, we've got to get moving, we've got to go forward. You know that forward thing, you've got to keep moving forward. And yet there are times in the forward movement where you can stop for a bit, rest, integrate, take in the view of yourself in your life, of your life as it's changing, an understanding that can only be achieved with patience. Patience brings that internal recognition of stillness, of quietude, of connection, to feel who you are, to feel who you have become, to feel who you are becoming, and even to recognize that as your feelings of now allow you a greater understanding, you can realize how the past has held you away, apart, not involved in your life. And who you are becoming is becoming more included, more willing to accept being a part of the whole, the at-one-ment, the belonging. And patience is a miraculous tool of measuring, not feeling into the pain, but feeling into yourself. And your mind may say, but there's pain there. You don't want to go into that. You don't want to get at one with yourself because there's entirely too much pain. And if you merge with all that you are, the pain will be overwhelming. But the patience with yourself, the patience carries such an element of peace. The affairs of the world game are all about winning, getting there first so that you don't miss your share. The fear that other people will have more ample opportunities to get what you want than you do. But patience takes the time to feel. It isn't just any longer scanning where you are, checking out to see who's there, or checking to see the lay of the land, or even looking at what's available in the place where you are, whether it is where you live, where you work, whether it is a restaurant, a bar, a movie theater. Anymore, many people are always looking around them to see what might be there that is out of the ordinary. But patience allows you not to just look with your eyes, but to feel the energy. Is it still, steady, peaceful? Is it quiet, but with an underlying crackle of tension or stress? Is it loud, too loud? When you get still within yourself, the inner ear will hear, feel things that the outer ear would miss altogether. That keen hearing and amazing sight that the animal kingdom possesses was granted to humanity from the very beginning. And yet, throughout the illusion, those instincts have been tamped down. They have been pushed aside. They've been disdained because even though humans are in many ways of the animal kingdom, the fact that humans have a different way of reasoning than the animal kingdom generally does. Animals are highly intelligent. They can be trained, educated, taught. Some species actually can learn to converse. Parrots, macaws, dolphins, and even some cats and dogs can become so attuned to their masters that they can converse. Part of it is intuition, yes, but also part of it is the sound recognition. And these assets of higher evolution, having a keen sense of smell, a keen sense of sight, acute hearing, can be very much to your favor. And it takes patience to remember that those attributes exist for you. It isn't something that you're going to go and take away from someone else because you already have it. So developing a keener set of instincts also allows you to recognize the essence, the energy of the virtues. So you feel patience from the soul center, from the heart center, out, so that the cells of your physical body begin to resonate, even energetically gravitate to that essence of peace that comes with patience. It isn't that you have to be totally quiet and can't say a word, or that you can't move and be active. But patience allows you to be more fully energetically engaged in your environment, aware of what is going on around you without disconnecting from what's going on within. Patience brings a feeling of solidarity, a sense of balance, a greater awareness of how truth vibrates and where the resonance of truth can be consciously noted in the physical body. Certainly in the soul center, truth feels pure and clean. In the heart center, it feels satisfactorily loved and loving. It resonates in the pineal and the pituitary, in the area of the thyroid and the thymus, with a sacred resonance. The Om, the Hu, the Mu, Mu. And as you are patient with yourself, you can become aware of your own soul resonance, your tone, your frequency, that is vibrationally slightly different from anyone else's. Several billion different resonant frequencies that can, if there is a willingness, patience, become a resonant harmony. And for those that patience is nerve-wracking, disturbing, disgusting, I don't have time for that, then the resonant frequency may be cacophonous, out of sync, too sharp, too flat. But patience creates within you a climate of reassurance that begins to address old laws of distraction. The itch that can be felt under the skin. I want to be here. I want to have this experience. I want to be with these people. But I know that there are other people that I know doing different things than these people are. And I just don't know where I want to be. If I'm here, I want to be there. If I'm there, I want to be here. Another thought that is rather prevalent with humanity: the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. So whatever I've got, they've got more. They've got better. They've got something different. And the truth of it is, the grass is always greener has risen as people have forgotten everything that I require, everything that I desire. I have. I already have it. It's mine. I don't have to go and take something away from someone else. But I do require to be patient. And patience soothes the kinetic, frantic, chaotic energy from within, so that when you are patient, you become aware of a positive utilization of time. And even if you don't think of something that you have to do, you still are comfortable with being, which is where humanity's moving now in this time. Moving from, I've got to do. I've got things to do. Too much to do. And what will happen? What if I don't get these things done? There will always be tomorrow. Oh, but I have this whole list of things planned for tomorrow. I just can't put another thing in to tomorrow. Patience allows you to forgive desperation. Patience allows you to realize that getting everything done that I planned can be interfered with by life itself. I had my day planned out, order and structure, militaristic planning. And then, synchronicity, I ran into an old friend. I hadn't seen them in so long, and I was so glad to be with them. And time just seemed to melt away. And before I realized it, I was so far behind schedule with all of my plans but you know, I didn't regret being with them. And in that moment, I felt the assurance, the faith, the trust, that everything would get done. I don't know how in the world it's going to get done. I can't imagine, because I had my day absolutely planned end to end. There wasn't a moment for anything. And yet, I feel assured within myself that even if I don't get everything done, it's all right. And the joy of spending time with a friend was worth more than many of the things that I had crowded into my day. Patience allows you to see without the filters of fear of failure, desperation around getting it all done, and all the what-ifs. Patience allows you to move through your life, through your days, and began to actually feel time. Not as a pressure that is weighting you down, but as space to navigate, to accomplish, even perhaps to recreate the list of things that had to get done. Patience will allow you the opportunity to sit quietly, to look at the list, and prioritize. To really consider this particular thing is really important. And potentially it can take a bit of time. So that would be something that I would move to be with first. And here's another big thing that requires attention. But, oh, look at the dates. Look at the timing. Yes, both of these things are big, and both may take a bit of my time. But this event comes first because it requires to be dealt with within the day or within the next 5 days, where the next event actually doesn't have to be accomplished until the end of the month. This is not encouraging procrastination. This is about the wisdom of priority, so that you forgive. Patience helps tremendously with this. You forgive making everything equal on a line. It's all got to get done today. And when you forgive fighting the time, it is almost, beloved masters, as though patience gives you time. Because when you are not biting your nails, jogging your foot, tapping your fingers, just because you're so revved up about the need to get everything done. And patience will even allow you a moment to assess. And this desperation to get it all done comes from an old law that says, if I can just get everything done, then I'll have time for me. Then I'll have time to play. And amazingly, patience can grant you the clarity to honestly feel within yourself, I am a priority in my life. Patience will allow you to move yourself closer to the top of the list of things that require attention. And when you include yourself in your life, amazing, you actually discover that you have more patience than you thought you did. Like attracts like. The more you seek to feel, seek to experience, seek to allow patience in your life, rather than allowing old patterns to keep you moving so fast that you don't have time to consider patience. And the ego is rubbing its hands together. Because if it can keep you in desperation, keep you in chaos, keep you running, keep you chasing something that you don't believe you have, and that you've got to find someone that you can get it from, as you can slow down. And this is another PowerPoint in this presentation. The power of patience actually gives you the ability to replenish yourself energetically. Take the time to breathe. Take 30 minutes to walk to a place, drive to a place where there is beauty. Water, trees, flowers. Even if it's to take the time between chores to walk in your own yard. Take the time to really feel the patience. And yes, you may hear the ego in the background. We don't have time for this. We've got to get going. Here, look at the list. There's all these things that have to be done. But the more you feel the patience, the more you give yourself time. The more you will find you become a much better authority in your own life. You write the script. You are the author. if what you are writing for yourself is jangled nerves, chaos and confusion and upset, and chasing something that perhaps in all of the stress of the times, you've even forgotten what you're looking for. Patience is not without discipline. And honestly, beloved masters, discipline and patience are very complementary. Discipline isn't a form of energetic deprivation to make you suffer. Discipline is what patience brings you, that allows you to take the time to be still, to quiet your mind, so that you hear, feel, see, feel, experience within your sacred center the real you, the real life you're living, what we are showing you, what we are telling you, what we are reminding you. Remember, are not things that are distractions from your life. They are elements that you have forced out of your life. You've hidden, you've buried, you've closed away. You convinced yourself they're unimportant, unnecessary. And yet, as you allow the virtues, their essence, their energy, their beauty, their strength, to fill you up, you actually begin to realize that every virtue has an energetic frequency that can be very soothing, very calming. The virtues have a tendency to create melodious essence within you. If you are addicted to chaos, then as you begin to shift your consciousness, in the beginning you may find that melodious frequencies are aggravating because you're so addicted to stress, to anger, frustration, conflict, to jumping up and leaving when things don't suit you, or starting a fight just because you don't know what else to do. So yes, the discipline of moving into softer essence, listening to the voice of the goddess and not just the masculine agendas of the world, of allowing yourself to feel so that you understand what it is to belong. And when you feel like you want to draw away from a situation that may hold a calming vibe, or a person who is patient, and the ego mind may say, well, aren't they smug and self-satisfied? But if you allow yourself to resonate in harmony with their patience, you will begin to have within yourself a deeper understanding of patience, how it feels, how it changes the tone, the color, the frequency, the deeper sense of enlightenment, the greater connection to your wisdom, how patience can be in and of itself a well of understanding. And to feel more in touch with your own rhythms. Not the driven rhythms that come from the fear that the world is going to beat you out of something or take something away from you, or other people are going to get there, wherever that is, before you do. Patience reassures. When your time to have that experience is present, you'll have the experience. You're not actually missing out on anything, because when you are fully present with yourself right here, right now, then you really have the experience that you were intended to have. But I wanted to go shopping, and I also felt like I needed to go to the office. And the store I wanted to go to was only open during the hours when I needed to be at the office. Oh, what am I going to do? Be patient. Get clear within yourself. Clarity is a real partner for patience. What were you going to shop for? Did you have a goal, an objective, or were you just engaging in distraction? Shopping can become as addictive as alcohol. What were you going to accomplish at the office? As you get clear what you desire to accomplish, then you can, in patience, go into the office, accomplish what you desired peacefully, and still have time to go shopping. Really be very, very aware when you feel confused. Because confusion is a sure indicator that the ego is looking for a way to pull you away from patience, to redirect or distract from your alignment, at one with the virtues. And you'll even hear the ego saying, but that's just how life is. It certainly is a potential, a possibility of life, but this is your life. And you, dearly beloved, amazing, divine, creative master, are the author of your life. So, when you get clear that giving yourself over to confusion, I just don't know how to stop it, I don't know what to do about it, I'm so confused. When you forgive that and you allow yourself to be patient, patient brings you back to now. And now is the only safe place there is. And now you can feel the virtues. The patience, the peace, the clarity, the truth, the wisdom, the courage to take the steps that allow you to move out of the old confining, constricting patterns that you've taken for granted throughout lifetimes. And patience is an easy, powerful, expanded energy. You have all the time there isn't, because time is changing how it's been. You have the space to make your own choices. And you always have free will and choice. And the logical mind has a set of rules about choices and how you make them. And there's a great deal of disturbance that arises when people began to make their choices differently. Allowing yourself to be patient so that you can really recognize what you desire. And patience will help you to feel the next step to achieving what you desire. Patience will encourage you to take the step. Patience may put an arm around your shoulder, or take your hand energetically. Patience may even provide a space where there will be another person, or perhaps one of us, to be there with you. You can make this step. And as you make this step to fulfill this choice, that can be as easy as you will allow it. It's all right. And every time you make the choice to take the next step, to feel more powerfully the patience, the courage, the faith, the truth, the strength, your own wisdom. Patience is changing the filters. Patience is moving old veils of illusion aside. And patience keeps reminding you there's plenty, and plenty more where that came from. Plenty of time, plenty of love, plenty of abundance, and where you have become addicted to telling a limited story about any part of your life, patience can gently take you by the arm and say, let's keep moving. You don't need to stop and tell that story again. And patience will, even as it is easing you forward, begin to help you see how telling old, limited stories, giving old, limited responses, falling back on that's just how it is, when from the Lord God of your being you are having more and more consistently experiences that are demonstrating that isn't how your life is any longer. You're not a victim. Be patient with that part of you that has wanted to cling to victimization. But even more, beloved masters, be patient with the mirror of those who would stand before you victimized, assuring everyone that they are a victim and how used they are and how others take advantage of them and how they never get what they want. And rather than giving over to the reaction of the ego, things that would perhaps involve physical and or verbal violence because they just need to snap out of it, there, but for the grace of God, go I. And maybe even more honestly, there goes my mirror. Or there stands my mirror. I didn't want to see that part of myself. I did not want to acknowledge that part of myself. I just wanted to get on with being a master. Now, can't we just set all of these negative things aside and get on with mastery? Yes. As you forgive your impatience with those things in yourself that you don't want to deal with, and therefore keep running into the mirrors that reflect the things that require your loving attention right now in this moment. So part of the time that patience invites you to give to yourself is time for self-recognition and awareness and self-healing. It is not about going over and over and over the flaws, which is a distraction from the healing. It is about feeling patience and compassion with yourself as you keep stepping forward and leaving those old limitations in the past. The patience to consider events that have occurred in the past in a calmer, less judgmental, much more compassionate way. Be there for yourself. To be patient with old psychology, that when you give yourself a bit of time to feel into it, it isn't even that you see how things require to change as much as you feel where the knots have been tied in the energy patterns to prevent the flow of forward motion. And Patience will allow you to pick the knot out, or to recognize, to understand what in the whole of the scenario of whatever you're considering in the moment, what requires to be transmuted, transformed. How you require to change, not how they need to change so that your life can get better, but how you require to change and the patience to allow faith to lead you forward. Faith doesn't say, this is what we're coming to, prepare yourself, because that gives permission to hold on to things that have nothing to do with where you're going now. Faith says, feel this. Feel yourself. Feel where you are willing to allow yourself to fit, belong, move forward, take the steps, and where you're just not willing. And you'll begin to hear, sense the uprising of the old explanations of why I can't. And what's rising up for the majority of humanity in these times, I can't because I'm not good enough. I can't because I'm not worthy. I can't because I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm too fat, I'm too thin, I'm too black, I'm too white, I am too educated, I'm not educated enough. Because they won't accept me. Or even more powerfully pertinent, I am still refusing to honor and accept myself. Patience allows you to see beyond what you think you see. Patience encourages intuition. Patience encourages inspiration, imagination, and interdependence. Without all of the logical back and forth about, I can't make up my mind who's supposed to lead and who's supposed to follow. You're moving more and more into alignment with living your mastery. Masters don't need leaders, and they don't need to be leaders, because in the old scheme of things, the leaders demand followers, and the followers began to fit into that niche of victimization. So I will assure you that we, the masters, are not. Jesus Christ is not. Lord Michael is not. I am not looking for followers. The goddess is not looking for followers. We desire to have those that will accompany us, be a part of this evolution, that will be companions along the way, equals, masters. Patience allows you to take all of the old robes of judgment and put them in the violet flame. To present yourself in a completely different light. As the enlightenment of divesting yourself of old judgment, frustration, fear, doubt, limitation, insecurity, and feeling bereft and not even knowing what you're missing, because so many of the divine gifts that you were given in the beginning when your soul was created, those gifts have been judged inappropriate, that you are undeserved, unworthy, that you don't need those things or you can't have them. Because after all humanity is here for, old psychological programming, is to do good for others. So let's take a moment of patience and feel into that. Did you feel your neck stiffen? Did you feel your head lock up? Did you feel your solar plexus tighten? Because the mind says, this is what you are supposed to think. So we, echoes throughout time of all those who had the ideas that would very slowly limit humanity to the place where they would become slaves, not servants. To serve is beautiful. To be forced to comply is control. So, beloved masters, I'm here to do good for others. So, first rule, oh yes, Spirit has rules. They're not constrictive. They actually allow things to happen much more easily. First rule, are you honoring the free will of those that you're doing good for? Did you ask them, would this be helpful? Or did you say, I looked at your life and I see what you need, and I'm going to make sure you either get that or you do that? And you better be grateful, because I have worked long and hard to force you into this place. Parents with children, bosses with workers, the church, the political system, the law of humanity. Spirit doesn't say, let everyone just run around and do whatever crosses their mind. That's happening now. That isn't free will, that's chaos. Free will comes from a centered connection of soul guidance. It isn't to deprive people of having fun. It is to discipline, to bring an equation of patience. Is this, in all honesty, fun? Or is it, in the moment, a capitulation to mob mind? Free will is 180 degrees away from mob mind. I get with a group of people that have thrown their inhibitions to the wind, and we will eat, drink, and be destructive together. And so, if you are deciding from whatever level of judgment you're still operating in, that other people are only good people if they comply to a set of rules and standards that your finite mind has locked onto. This is what you do, and this is how you do it, and you do not deviate. Free will respects, first, the master that is exercising it, and secondly, the choices of other people. I just heard the ego running to the front of the courtroom. But what about? That's why there are virtues. They help you. You, the master. You, the absolute, unique, one-of-a-kind master. To define for yourself in love. If this does not feel good to me, if I don't want other people doing, saying, threatening these things for me, why would I believe that if I do it to someone else, suddenly it's greater good? golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Discipline and patience. As the kid, the ego child, says, but look what they did to me. I have every right to get back at them. And according to laws in the world, that could be said to be so. As you are making a choice to discover your mastery, find out who you are, remember, reconnect with yourself, then in love, you don't make a war with divine law, because divine law was set in motion before humanity was created. So divine law isn't about judgmental conditions. Divine law was created in love without a condition. It is about balance and harmony. So, I am here to do good for other people. So let's discuss briefly, and what do you expect them to do for you? If everyone is here to do good for others, then what are the agendas, the expectations that you have that others are supposed to do or give to you because you are complying with the law of doing good for others and they're not shelling out? Perhaps they don't see any reason to comply to those old, limited psychological programs. Things are changing. And it isn't that some human being has to single-handedly destroy the whole world and then build it up to suit themselves. It is absolutely necessary that each individual, no matter where in the world you live, no matter what the circumstances of your life, you are a master. There are many people in what certain minds would judge low places of life who are wondrously noble, that have a beautiful spirit, that create acts of kindness without a calculation of what is this going to get me. It's a natural for them. They innately live by the guidance, recognition, awareness of the virtues. There are those that are fighting to live by the virtues, but they're putting out so much energy trying to be virtuous and feeling betrayed, abandoned, feeling like failure. There are those that want nothing to do with the virtues because they feel that virtues interfere with the life that they want to live. And yet I can assure each and every master on this ball, the more that you seek within yourself to powerfully live the best life in this moment that you can live, not about appearances, but about how it feels for you as I make this choice, as I take this step, as I pull down this wall, as I open this door, as I slide this veil aside and open myself to at-one-ment. Life rewards you with the experiences that you achieve in living. If you're waiting for life to happen, you're not having experiences. If you're waiting for it to get good and then you'll take part, then your focus is on what's wrong, not with what you're looking for. The peace, the joy, the fulfillment, the love. So, beloved masters, to live true to yourself, to live faithful to that divine connection, to be patient with your growth, because yes, you are human, and in the physical world there are things that take time. And yes, the time-space continuum is changing. So, allow yourself to feel that flow and be amazed that when you're allowing things to come in their divinely appropriate time, they actually feel as though they're coming quicker. And a rule of thumb for these times that literally is going to open doors to your inner connection. Be very acutely aware of how often and how much and how intensely you argue. To let it go. Masters do not make defense. And defensiveness is all about arguing. Masters do not make excuses. And excuses very often lead to the necessity to explain why I'm having to make this excuse. Masters don't explain their life. Masters seek to feel that powerfully supportive, loving, consistent connection within that allows them to make the choices that feel divinely appropriate, not by judgment, but by spiritual connectiveness within self. And living your spirit is not the letter of the judicial law. It isn't the interpretations of the finite mind of what God really said and what God really meant, the gospel according to the person that's speaking in the moment, but how your life feels within you. It may be pleasantly loving. It may feel so smooth that the logical mind begins to worry about boredom. But it is patience. Enjoy what you're experiencing in this moment, because everything is subject to change. Change is always for the better. But in order for you to obtain the connection, the awareness, the recognition, to have the experience of better, quite frequently it requires that you let go of your grip on the worst. The yes buts, the what ifs, it's hard, I tried, I never get what I want, look what they did to me. All of those things require to be moved beyond in order to appreciate the value of change. Patience allows you to move through situations in your life that could cause you to believe that loss is all there is. And patience allows that you can stay present with yourself so that as the dawning of new good floods into your life, you're present. That you have not abandoned yourself again one more time to run out into the unformed future, trying to chase down the good that you think you don't have yet. Patience says, wait. Patience says, pay attention to your own intuition. Intuition doesn't go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Intuition is clear. It's timely. Timely. It doesn't come because you demand it to. It is always there. Foundationally, it's with you all of the time. But to get a clear answer doesn't happen when you are in intellectual chaos, because intuition is a part of allowing, of being, of sensing within yourself. Personal growth. Personal growth. Isn't something that someone else, not even those of us that are assisting humanity in this time, it isn't something someone else does for you so that you can get on with what you wanted to do. Because this whole evolutionary process of remembering who you are and the discovery of the essence of magic, the power of love, and the capability of each individual to bring about events, gifts, connections, synchronicities in their own life, because they are willing. You can't force it. You can't fight for it. You can't make it happen. So pay very close attention to what you are doing with your energy. Tension, stress, aggression, anger, frustration, fear, doubt are simply the old veils of illusion that have disallowed humanity to remember all that they are for such a long time. So, beloved masters, the virtue of patience, how do you ignore it? How do you push it aside? How do you own it when it's convenient and then dismiss it when you're in a hurry? When you're in a hurry, allow patience to move in energetically to the fore of your consciousness. What's the hurry? Why must you be the only one that can do things right? Why must you be the only one that can be responsible? Why must you be the first one that gets there so that you can prove that you are more efficient than all the others? Why must you be hyper responsible and then perhaps silently or not so silently sit in judgment with all the irresponsible ones that don't do it your way? Patience takes the tunnel vision of this is the only way it can be and expands it out so that you become more aware of all the possibilities of choices. And you move to a place where you can comfortably acknowledge that other people actually have some wonderful ideas. I would have never thought of that. I didn't see it that way. Amazing. And that willingness to experience a different perspective, that willingness to acknowledge that that point of view, that idea, that consideration actually is a lot more helpful than what I was thinking of. It isn't about their idea is better, therefore I failed. That's judgment of the old order. Their idea comes from a different perspective. Perhaps it is time for me to adjust my perspective. Allow myself to see more. Allow myself to step up closer so that I can really see, rather than holding back because my whole life has been about keeping distance from the things that other people do, the way they think, how they act. Everything from, if they're doing it too well, they make me feel bad because I'm not doing it good enough, to look how miserably they fail and how absolutely perfect my idea is. And when you take the patience, the time, the truth, to feel into the bitter judgments against others, you'll feel the bite of that bitterness as it opens the wound again within you a bit. You're not healing yourself by condemning and criticizing and castigating others. You're simply keeping the wounds within yourself open and perhaps potentially delaying your own forward motion. Patience with yourself. Peace within. Allowing the virtues to complement one another. Like an artist with a palette. Here is the color of patience. And I'm willing to be shown all the complementary energies, vibrations, colors that support, enhance, harmonize, illuminate the power of patience. The flow of faith. The enlightenment that brings life a whole new way of being. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius, a time that calls for equality, that calls for understanding, compassion, objectivity rather than indifference. Because indifference is the opposite of love. I just don't care. To care without it becoming possessive or painful. To be objective without it becoming indifferent or callous. It is, yes, masters, Spirit will show you the balance, the harmony, the refinement, the feel of the virtues, and how they transform your life into a work of art. So that I wish I was becomes I am. And the practice of patience allows you the time to assimilate your discoveries into yourself. Experiential living is the greatest teacher. So you're having the experiences of living you, and in that process finding more of you. And as you find more of you and you live that more clearly, you move from the finite world to the infinite cosmos. There's always more. Dream bigger. And be patient with your dreams. This instant pudding society that has come out of the ending of the old order. People that want exactly what they want, perfectly created, right now in this moment, and if I don't get it, I'll simply go somewhere else. Because obviously if I haven't gotten the answer within a day or two, the answer isn't here. There would not be a human race if people were not willing to be patient with the cycles of life. Infants would not be allowed to gestate to the fullness of delivery. Food and flowers would not be allowed to grow to their point of appropriate beauty or nutrition. Patience is absolutely necessary to personal growth. And it is, dearly beloved masters, every day in the energy of these times, humanity is moving more and more into alignment with itself. I can't see it, that's all right. Feel it, I can't feel. Everyone can feel. You have denied it for a long time, but it doesn't mean you can't feel. When people say, I can't, it simply means I won't. So to be patient with yourself as you discover the answers to why you won't allow yourself to move forward, to change, to be more. And very often the answer is, I couldn't bear it if I failed. So be patient with yourself, because God didn't create failure. God created change and evolution and growth. But God did not create failure. That is a product of the illusion. And the arrogance of the finite mind to dare to say to God, I'm no good. Forgive it, forgive it, forgive it, and live true and faithful, loving and compassionate, courageous and patient with yourself. Virtuous living isn't sanctimonious. Virtuous living is freedom. Sanctimony is a walled fortress. So, dearly beloved masters, it's really time for every human being on this planet to get clear. Why do you need a wall? When patience provides boundaries, not barriers. Until we meet again, in whatever manner that may be, in the greatest of love, we are with you in utmost patience, always.